Good morning, everybody. What's up? Coach White here, SFBA Sports Performance, and this video is mainly for our AAU players for the 2025 Spring-Summer season. First, thank you for joining the program. Congratulations on making our teams, and looking forward to getting started for the season. As you know, we're doing some workouts pre-season that I've sent you guys via an app, and you all should have access to it. If you don't, let me know, and I'll try to make sure that I get you guys on there. However, there are a couple of exercises I wanted to give you some information around and ways to modify it, or also the purpose of it, right? So there's two that we're focusing on today in our third workout for the week, and that's rows using using resistance bands, and that's also eccentric pull-ups. So I'm going to kind of break down those two exercises primarily. And again, if you have any questions about any of the exercises, why, how, what is it, how can I modify it based off what I have at home, let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out to make sure your athlete can still get in the quality workout to finish it for that day. So let's start off with rows. All right, so a couple cues. Now there's videos for the workouts, but a couple things that I want to kind of go through are, when using this band, first of all, you want to make sure you get a good base with it under your feet. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure your kids don't just bend from the back and they don't want to round their back. So I'm going here, and my back should be in a straight line from the top of my head down to my waist. But if I'm rounding like this, that's not what you want, because then it's going to put unnecessary stress on your lower back. So you want your athletes to push their hips back, hinge, keep a strong upper back, tight core, and we're just driving the elbows back and then nice and slow on the way down. You don't want to rush these to make these quick, because what's going to happen is you're going to release the tension on the muscles that we want to maintain. So the slower I can go, pull, and the slower I can bring it back down, that's going to increase the time that the muscles are under tension, which is going to get us a better workout. Now, if you don't have one of these, don't worry, I got you. All of our athletes should have one of these. It's a mini band. We typically use these for hip activation, glute work, things like that. You can also utilize it for our rows. Now to do this, what we'll do is we'll just step on it. We'll just take one side of my foot, put it here. I'll go in a split stance position. I'll put one leg forward, the one that's stepping on the band, one leg back, and I'll kind of drop down into like a split lunge position. I can keep my hand on the waist, still make sure you have a strong back, keep it straight, don't round at the top. Just drive the elbow back and then extend nice and slow. Drive the elbow back, pause at the top, extend nice and slow. Drive the elbow back, pause at the top, extend down nice and slow. And that's another way you can modify by doing rows without having to get one of these. Now, can you get a better workout with this? Yes, you can. Now, if you don't, now if you have something else and say you want to kind of step up, you can utilize a dumbbell as well. So if you want to do the same thing, either in a split stance position, you can either go into the split stance, place one hand, your forearm on the other leg, and then we're just rowing, doing the same thing with increased weight. Or you can do that with two dumbbells as well. Same position, make sure your back is straight, driving the elbows back, pause at the top, and then we're bringing it back down. Now you probably noticed I've been saying pause at the top, down slow. Now that kind of leads to the next exercise, which is the eccentric pull-up. What I want to do is, because we're not using heavy weights and we don't really need to expose a lot of the younger athletes to heavy weights at this time, it's more about how do we just get them stronger, build better coordination. The pause at the top allows us to kind of engage the muscle fibers right at their peak, right where they're really kind of fighting to hold it. The lowering of the resistance, where I bring my hands back to the starting position, that allows the muscles to stay under tension longer. The longer that we can keep the muscles under tension, the more work they're gonna get, right? And so when they're going fast and they're kind of just allowing the band to pull them back or gravity to drive their hands back, what we're doing is we're decreasing the time the muscle actually has to work. The longer the muscle can work, the better quality strength work we're gonna get. Now, if this is for speed and power, then yeah, we can be quick, but this is about building strength. All right, better movement quality, better posture, things like that. So really make sure they're taking their time, especially on the eccentric, where I'm bringing the weight back to the starting position. That's really important. So let's go to the pull-ups. All right. So in the video, you probably saw that it was basically an individual going from a pull position, driving his body up, and then lowering down slow. Now, the reason why we're doing eccentric pull-ups are for two reasons. Number one, most kids can't do pull-ups, right? Most people can't do pull-ups or do them properly or enough of them to actually make it quality. Number two, by utilizing an eccentric phase, by lowering the body down slowly, the muscles that you need to do a pull-up are engaged for a longer period of time. The athlete's getting used to what the actual movement should feel like from the lowering phase. Now, if your athlete can pull themselves up, cool, and then lower themselves down, that just gives us more time under tension. If the athlete can't do that, here's what they'll do. They don't have to pull. So if pulling is the problem, what we'll do is we'll basically just have them, can we get this to see? We'll basically have them, and bridge belt, I love this rack, just jump up. So either you can take a box or a step or something, they can get to something where they can pull up on, and then they can just jump up here. The goal is you want to get your body to the position where you'd be at the top of the pull. So if I'm doing a pull up, right, and we're jumping, right, so they can just get here, just jump, hold this position. What I want to do is lower my body down as slow as possible in about a 3 or 5 second count to where I get the full extension. Then they can release, let go, and do it all over again. So when we're doing that, as you're lowering your body down, you're engaging those muscles that you want to have to help you do a better pull-up. So one day you can do an actual pull-up. Again, if your athletes can't pull themselves up, have them jump up to the position, they can get to a box and they can get there, start where they're at the top part of the pull, and then they'll steadily lower their bodies down until they get to the point where they reach full extension of the hands, and then they can release and then start over again. Again, if your athletes can do an actual pull-up, cool. If they can't, the eccentric is a great way to go. However, even if they can do pull-ups, most of them aren't gonna do it properly. Now, what grip should I have? This is a single bar, so there's only really one grip, or maybe I can go this way, like a chin up. But I think for the sake of these purposes, I would like players to do it this way, all right? But if they can't do it this way, and this is too extreme, they can go here. But because we're focusing on the eccentric and not actually the concentric where we're pulling our bodies up, this should be something that athletes can develop. And if we can develop that, I feel like that's gonna be a lot better for our players. The pull-ups are great, but what you're gonna find is that as they're doing this, they're gonna be focusing more on their biceps. So by doing this, I'm focusing more on the muscles I need on my back. But by doing it this way here, this becomes more where my biceps are more engaged, and that's usually what athletes tend to help them when it comes to the pull-up, when they're doing it this way as a chin-up version. That's it. I think that's all I got. So we talked about the rows, using the longer band, using the mini band. So it can either be two hands. If you have the longer band, you can do single arm using the mini bands as well. We talked about why eccentric pull-ups are important and how you can do them if they've been an issue, or if you're just curious why we do it that way. I think that's all I had for today. Everything else should be pretty self-explanatory. Oh, and this just goes across the board for any of the exercises. Whether it's a squat, a lunge, push, pull, the eccentric push-ups. Again, what we're focusing on is time under tension. Can the athlete maintain more time under tension? If I do that, the muscles are going to get more work. The more work the muscles get in a proper position, the stronger they're gonna get, and the more resilient our athletes will become. And by the time we do this for the next 4.5 months, our athletes should be significantly better with their strength, their posture, their movement quality, and that should translate into how they perform actual sport-specific skills. Again, this isn't help them become, elite skilled players. This is help them become better athletes, so that those better athletes can now perform better skills, and hopefully reduce chances of injury once we get to the season. So if you have any questions, let me know. Let's get it. SFBA, peace.